I'm Lucas Hutchinson, and today I'm going to be talking about the power of positive thinking. But first I want to tell you a story. So a lot of you know I grew up in France, and I grew up in a really big city, and it was on the border of like a bad area, and so I had this really nice bike that my dad bought me, and I was about 10 years old, and I like to ride. I had this like route that I would go around and around, and so one day I was riding, and it was like about 7 o'clock. It was getting kind of dark out, and I kept doing the same route. So there's one part where it's like kind of a smaller alley, and there's like cars parked on both sides. And so as I was going, I slowed down because it was like a turn. And right as I get past the turn, there's two suspicious-looking people that come out from behind a car, and they block the road, so I had to stop. They block the road, and they start walking towards me. Both of them have like smirks on their face. So I was 10, and I was kind of innocent, and I was really scared. So I turned around, and I started pedaling as fast as I could in the opposite direction. And the adrenaline definitely kicked in because I've never gone on a bike that fast in my life after that. But I just started pedaling, and I didn't even think. There was this road at the end of the alley. There was like a 2-lane road, and I just went straight across, and cars on both sides slammed on their brakes, and one car actually ran into a car that slammed on their brakes. And I just kept on going, and I didn't even like think. It could have been bad. Thank God it didn't. But yeah, so that's my story. Now you may have no idea how this relates to positive thinking, but I promise it will. First, I want to go ahead, next slide. I want to tell you what I'm going to be talking about. It's the first one is optimism versus pessimism. The effects of on your psychological health, or optimism, and physical health. And lastly, I want to talk about how people who are pessimistic can go and become optimistic as well. So, yeah, first I want to define optimism. On pursuitofhappiness.org, Martin Seligman defines optimism as reacting to problems with a sense of confidence and high personal ability. And then pessimism is defined on dictionaryreference.com. It's the tendency to see, anticipate, or emphasize only bad or undesirable outcomes, results, conditions, and problems. So basically, now this is how it ties back to my story. Any negative feeling, and I found this on HuffingtonPost.com, any negative feeling that people have, they automatically just focus on the bad things. Like, it can be fear. In my case, it was fear. I just completely ignored the dangers of getting run over by a car. I was just focused on getting away from that situation. It can be anger, when we focus on like something that someone did to us, we're really mad at them. It can be, it can also relate to feelings of pessimism, where we just focus on something bad and we let it like influence something good, like influence like our situation. So on pursuitofhappiness.org, there's a study done, and it says that psychologists they use the term explanatory styles, and it defines 3 different ways that pessimists and optimists deal with certain situations. And the first one is internal versus external. And pessimists, people, when something bad happens, they tend to think that it's because of them. And optimist people, they'll say that it's something exterior and it's something that they can change. The second one is stable versus unstable. Pessimist people think that once something bad happens, they think that it'll never change. Always in this situation, it's always going to be like this, and they dwell on that. Versus optimists who think of a way that they can change it and say that it's not going to be this way forever, and they'll be able to change it. And then the last one is pervasive versus limited. Pervasive means that when something bad happens, it's going to affect all of their lives. Versus limited, it means that it's just one time, something that happens bad, that's just one time, and that we can learn and move on from it. Next slide. So now we're going to talk about psychological health that optimism has. It helps relieve stress. It's been found to correlate positively with satisfaction and self-esteem, lowers rates of depression, and people who are generally optimists are more happier than their lives with pessimists. And this has to do with stress, because people who are really pessimists, they always think bad thoughts, always look at the bad side of things. They usually tend to be really stressed out, and that can have really bad effects, psychological, and also, next slide, also physical. Because of stress, it can shorten your lifespan, it can make you distressed. If you're not stressed out, if you're optimistic, it can better your immune system, and it can reduce your risk of death from cardiovascular disease. So my next point is, can people who are pessimists change and become optimists? Well, a lot of people who are pessimists don't even know that they're pessimists. So here's a few ways to find out. 4 things that pessimists usually do is filtering. They ignore the good things in their lives and they just focus on the bad ones. They blame themselves, so they personalizing is the second one. Catastrophizing. They anticipate the worst in every decision, in every situation. And polarizing. They see things as either really good or really bad. There's no in between, and usually they see things as bad. So yeah, here's some ways that I found on HuffingtonPost.com and MayoClinic.org that say meditation, writing down good thoughts, and just plain activities, setting times in your life to do activities, sports, whatever it may be. And here's some other ways to make sure that you're being optimistic about your life. Identifying ideas to change, check yourself, open to humor, follow a healthy lifestyle, and surround yourself with positive people, and also practicing positive self-talk. One of the biggest things that has to do with optimism is gratitude. They found studies, again on HuffingtonPost.com, that say that when people have gratitude about their lives and they're always thankful for things that they have, they tend to be more optimistic and better. So next slide. I think all of us in life, our goal is to be happy, and but I think a lot of times people have a tendency to think that success comes before happiness, and but that really isn't the case. If we decide to be happy, and if we decide to have optimistic thoughts, then success will come after that. Happiness is the precursor to success, and actually the result of it. So it comes before. We have to decide to be optimists, and that will open our minds to greater things, and then we will be happy as a result. So in conclusion, we know that as college students we're sometimes really stressed out and stuff, but I just want to encourage you to think positive thoughts, and just remember that if we're happy first, then that will help us succeed and that will help us be happy.